Spooky days, finally here, and every time this day has hit since age 13, I reminisce about when I used to trick-or-treat. And then I think, maybe it was nice when I used to be able to trick-or-treat. I wish I could do that now, but of course society shuns upon the idea of a 19-year-old dressing up in a costume going to other people's houses to collect candy, so thus Halloween is a children's-only holiday, I guess. But anyways, that aside, I nonetheless think maybe it would be nice to do that again. Free candy at least. But then I remember, oh wait, we have a bunch of candy here for the potential trick-or-treaters that would come to our house, which is a very rare occurrence. The last time that happened was like 3 years ago. So pretty much all the candy is for me, so yay. And then I remember all the shit that I had to do to get that candy. My mom would bug me all throughout September. Let's get a costume, let's get a costume, let's get a costume. Every weekend in September she would bug me about that shit. And I would always say, I don't feel like it, maybe next weekend. And keep pushing it off, pushing it off, pushing it off. And usually around the time I actually do get around to getting a costume, it's like a week or two before Halloween. And that's when a lot of the good costumes are gone. But lo and behold, I find a costume that I like, but then my mom was like, oh, what about this costume? And then I'm like, no, I want this costume. And then she's like, what about that costume? No, I want this costume. What about this one? No, I want this one. What about that one? No, I want that one. And it was just exactly that, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, until she is finally convinced that the costume I've been holding in my hand and telling her that I want for the past 5 minutes is indeed the costume I want. And then she asks me one last time, are you sure that's the costume you want? Oh my fucking god. And then I'm like, yes, mother, yes, this is the costume I want, even though I've been telling you for the past, 20 fucking minutes that this is indeed the costume I want. This is the costume I want. Thank you for asking. Thank you for clarifying. Anyways, we buy that costume, and then the day of Halloween finally arrives, and then I'm like, it's time to go out for 2 hours, walk around my town, looking for houses that give out candy. And I didn't really like doing that. I really loved Halloween when I was a little kid, but then when I got older, like around age 9 to 13, I started to really not enjoy Halloween anymore, just for the simple fact that it's a lot of fucking walking. I don't like walking throughout the town. I mean, I'm sure all of you who have seen what I look like can assess just by looking at me that I am not a person who is a fan of a lot of walking. And not to mention, most of the Halloweens that I participated in, of course, fell on weekdays, so after a long day of school, I have to go back out for a few hours, walk around the town to collect candy, and I just didn't want to do that shit after a certain age. I'm like, I have to wake up early for school at 6 in the morning to even make it on time. I have to, after school, wait for my mom to get home at around 5 o'clock because that's around the time she gets home from work, and then go out for a few hours, get candy, and then go all the way back home. That sure as shit did not sound appealing to me during my preteen years, but whatever, free candy, fine. I put on my costume that I didn't even really enjoy wearing in the first place. I only liked the way they looked, but not actually wearing them, especially if they have masks, because I did not like the way the masks smelled or the way they felt on my face. I never liked wearing masks in general. Aside from the ones you have to wear for COVID, of course, I'm fine with those, but you get what I mean. Party masks, costume masks, whatever. Anyways, while out trick-or-treating, I would see several houses that looked like they gave out candy because they're decorated very nicely, and then I would go onto their doorstep and see a sign that says either, we don't give out candy, fuck off, or we ran out of candy, come back in an hour. Yeah, I'm gonna actually remember to go back to your house in an hour after I filled up my candy bag to the brim, and then enjoy my candy while you come back and fill up your bowl again. No, no one's gonna fucking do that shit. No one's actually gonna go back to your house within an hour's time after getting a bunch of candy from other houses. Your sign may as well have said, heh, you're shit out of luck with our house. You came too late. Better luck next year. You also gotta love the houses that have the bowl right there for you to take candy from. You don't even have to ring the doorbell. They just put it right there on their stoop. But then they have the sign that says, take one piece of candy, please. I am probably the only kid that ever followed that rule, and I so regret it because I saw other kids just taking handfuls of candy from those bowls that had those signs, completely ignoring the sign, but then I would just obey that rule after seeing other kids disobey that rule and take one piece of candy. How fucking lame. I could have taken a handful of Kit Kats or M&Ms from those bowls, but I chose not to because, oh, that's the polite thing to do. I was following the rules. Fuck that shit. Halloween is about getting all the candy you can. Yeah, sure. sure, it's also about dressing up, the spooky elements of it, all that shit. But let's be honest here, the reason Halloween is such an iconic holiday that is celebrated worldwide is because it's the day you can get a shitload of candy. And of course, kids love that, so they're obviously going to participate in a day where they can get a shitload of candy for free without asking their parents. So when you put out a bowl with a sign that says, take one piece of candy, you're kind of shitting on the whole idea of Halloween. I take personal offense to that. And you might say, well, it will be unfair to the other kids if one kid took a shitload of candy from a bowl that was just lying there. Who fucking cares? You buy that candy for kids to take anyway. You want to get rid of that candy anyway, don't you? Otherwise you would have saved all that candy for yourself. So go ahead, let a kid take as much candy from your bowl as they so please. Hell, let them take the whole bowl if they choose to. It's not your problem. You bought that candy with the specific intention to let kids take the candy, right? So may as well just let them take as much candy as they want because, again, you spent money with the full intention of letting kids take that candy, so it shouldn't be your problem, right? Also, I always hated being given pretzels and candy corn. Pretzels and candy corn. Pretzels on Halloween. I never liked pretzels. I always hated salty food, so I never really touched the pretzels I was given. And I didn't go out to trick or treat and walk all over my town for a few hours straight to only get fucking pretzels and candy corn. I wanted Kit Kats and M&Ms and the candy that I actually like and the candy that is actually good and actual candy. So please, don't spit in the eyes of children by giving them pretzels on fucking Halloween. And you might say, well, I'm giving them healthier food at least. No one goes trick-or-treating in search of healthy food. Like, if that was your concern, then you may as well just not participate in Halloween at all, because no one fucking goes out trick-or-treating in search of fucking pretzels, okay? So don't even fucking bother with Halloween if that's all you're gonna give out. So as you can tell, there were many aspects of Halloween that I didn't like at all growing up when I was still trick-or-treating, but the straw that kinda broke the camel's back was the last year I trick-or-treated. I already made up my mind that 13 was going to be the last age. I was going to trick-or-treat, give it one last hurrah, and collect as much candy as I can throughout the neighborhood for one last time in my life. But then I found out I wasn't going to be trick-or-treating alone that year. I was going to be trick-or-treating with another kid in my school. A kid I wasn't friends with. He was in the special ed classes. Not saying that's the reason why I wasn't his friend. It's just that I was not in special ed, this kid was, so I never interacted with him before. But my mom has been really good friends with his mom since we were in elementary school. His mom is one of the nicest ladies ever. But trick-or-treating with him was pure hell because he would not go anywhere near houses that looked too spooky. He was traumatized, at least, from this one time when he was like 9, where he went to go get candy and then someone jumped up at him and scared him, and ever since he would not go anywhere near houses that looked too spooky for him. And I had no problem going to these kind of houses, okay? I love these kind of houses. My favorite kind of houses were the ones that tried to scare you. I remember one time I had something similar happen to me at like age 8 or 9. Someone jumped up out at me and scared me, and of course I got spooked at first, but then I laughed because, of course, that's just the nature of Halloween. It's about getting scared and about scary shit, so I like that. But this kid didn't, and of course, whatever, fine. He had disabilities and whatever. I'm not going to fault him for that. So if he didn't like that, he didn't like that. But my mom refused to go near these houses that he didn't like. Even though I had no issue going near these houses he liked and going and getting candy from these houses he didn't like, because usually the most spooky houses, at least in my area, gave out the best candy. But my mom did not let me because that kid was just too scared. And I'm like, I can't just go alone. I want to go to this house. I want to get candy from this house. No, it wasn't allowed, because this kid didn't like it. So thank you, Mom, for making my last Halloween a shitty one. But that was really just the final nail in the coffin for me. My mind was already set that after that year I was not going to be trick-or-treating anymore, so I'm not really too upset about that. But yeah, regardless, it was still shitty. But anyways, I'm sure you all loved Halloween growing up. You loved dressing up. You loved walking around your neighborhood in search of candy. And whatever, fine. If you have positive memories surrounding Halloween, then that's great. I still have positive memories surrounding Halloween, mostly from when I was like 5, but still. There was a point in time where I did enjoy Halloween. And it wasn't just at age 5 either. Just a few years ago, I went to a Halloween party, got so fucking high. I mean, I did the hokey pokey. I'm a good boy, trust me. Anyways, despite me bitching about it for 10 minutes now, Jesus, or nearly 10 minutes at least, happy Halloween. Hope it's a safe and fun one for you. I'm on door duty, so if any kid by some miracle comes to my house, I'll be giving them candy, and I'll be having the rest of the candy all to myself. And I know I will be having a lot of candy because we hardly ever get trick or treaters, so it's a good bet that we won't even get any kids this year. Hopefully, because I want all those Kit Kats and M&Ms, trust me, holy shit. Anyways, I can already taste it in my mouth now, and I am looking forward to eating all of it later tonight. That's all I have to say. Bye-bye.